Ace of Cups, Page of Wands, new beginnings, exciting new ideas or something. A new beginning, new things. Youth. Excitement. The promise of new beginnings. Blessings. Children. Childlike joy and wonder. The devil. Capricorn or devil energies. Lust, greed, anger, temptation, addiction, corruption, contractual things. Ace of Cups again on the bottom. Ace of Cups on the bottom. Thank you. What about this devil? What about these Capricorn energies? What about these devilish energies? The Emperor. Okay, could be a Capricorn. There could be an Aries and a Capricorn, or this could be describing the same individual. There could be an Emperor, a tyrant who is angry, a tyrant who is addicted. There could be a masculine, somebody's father who failed to lead. There could be a bad parent, a bad father out here, a Capricorn. This could be your parent, someone external. You could be this Emperor and you could be in a relationship with a Capricorn, or you could be a Capricorn and you could be in a relationship with this Emperor, or this Emperor could be your father or your boss. Take it as it resonates. Maybe your ex. I feel this is the same person. I feel that this is describing the same person. So I feel that these devil energies are more, this devil card is representing more the energies of the Emperor. So this Emperor who is in the position of an Emperor, it doesn't mean they're in the Emperor energies in the upright. Okay, they could be a parent or a father, but they're not a good one. Okay, or they failed to lead. They could be the head of some company, some group, some family, but they're not a good leader. They're leading people the wrong way, or they're a tyrant, or they've given their power away to some addiction or some troublesome energy. They've become just another pawn of the devil, or they've allowed the energies of the devil to take hold of them. Okay, this could be someone who reached the position of an Emperor, someone at the head of some group or some company, or at the head of a family. Take it as it resonates. Someone in a position of power and authority. But they got there by doing nefarious things. They got there by this fight to the death energy, kill or be killed sort of energy. Very cutthroat business person. Someone who has clawed their way to the top, but because of those claws, because of the wounds left by the claws, because of all the evidence of the individual having clawed their way to the top, because of all of that, nobody wants to be around them. They're finding their peak because the Emperor is at their peak. That is peak, okay? So this individual is either thinking about how they have become just another pawn of the devil, or how they have allowed the devilish energies, perhaps some temptation, or some addiction, or greed, something like that. Perhaps they have allowed anger or ego to rule them. Perhaps they failed to lead. Perhaps they gave their power away to any of those things. Anger, greed, addiction, something like that. Perhaps they put their position of authority up for grabs when they allowed themselves to become a vessel of the devil here. Page of Wands again. Leading people astray, leading young ones astray, or this is the Emperor looking back on their own life. This is the Emperor perhaps feeling young again. Okay, so someone who could have clawed their way to the top. This could be someone who is focusing on you, collective. This could be someone who has clawed their way to the top. They're at the top. They're at the peak. They're peaking right now. This is their peak. Okay? So, this person doesn't like to be talked about. This person likes to operate in the shadows. This person has a lot of wards up. This is someone looking at you, collective, and they have a lot of wards up. This is someone who is paying attention to you, collective, and they have a lot of wards up. They want to remain cloaked and hidden. They want to remain in the shadows. They like to remain secretive. They don't want to be talked about. They don't want me to talk about them. And I will respect that. I'll respect that. Death could be a Scorpio. I'm being told to put an end to this. Put an end to this. Okay. So this could be someone at the very top of a company that you work for, or some group or company that you're affiliated with, or family. Again, this person doesn't want me to talk about them, but they're here. Why are they here if they don't want me to talk about them? They just like to watch. I don't like one-sided things. Nine of Pentacles. It's invasive. Nine of Pentacles. You're by yourself. This is a single individual. This is someone who is independent, someone who is separate. The Sun. Something being exposed. Okay. Someone is watching you by yourself. You're by yourself. Someone is watching you. That energy. Someone's watching you and you're by yourself. Death again. It came out. Death. You could be a Scorpio, or there could be a Scorpio. This could be you. This could be your person. Someone external. Take it as it resonates. This represents an ending. Someone wants to put an end to your independence. To Judgment. Someone's under judgment for trying to invade your privacy. Someone's under judgment for thinking that what they can do within their, my throat. Someone is under judgment for thinking that what they can do within their circles of what they can do. Someone is under judgment for thinking that they can do that to someone who's outside of that. Like this Nine of Pentacles individual, if this represents you, you are outside of this circle of death. I'm getting like something about someone invading your privacy, something about someone trying to end your independence, or, you know, something about a Scorpio. If this is not you, you could be this Scorpio. Take it as it resonates. Someone's under judgment, though. What about this? King of Cups here. King of Cups. Scorpio, King of Cups. So this could be your ex. Your ex could be a Scorpio, a King of Cups. And you're independent from this King of Cups Scorpio ex of yours. So this could represent you and your ex. But if it's not a Scorpio ex of yours, it's something about this death energy. Death pool, dead pool, making light of very serious things like betting on, endings. These could be people who are in the industry of ending things. People who go in and, end people's whatever, take it, I don't know. Like I said, this energy, these people, the circles they operate in, it's very warded. They don't like to be talked about. First of all, I'm not involved in this, so I'm not really knowledgeable enough to even talk about it, okay? But the energy's here, so it's like, if they don't want to be talked about, why are they here? That's what I don't understand. So, okay. They're here for you. Like, they want to look at you, but they don't want anybody looking at them. That's the thing. It's just very one-sided. And so, what about this? Okay. Mini-me deck. Perfect, thank you. Let's get some clarifiers. Can we get a clarifier for this Nine of Pentacles? Death, I opened it to death. Okay, can we get a clarifier for this Nine of Pentacles, please? Something to help collective identify who this Nine of Pentacles is. If it is themselves, if it is someone else, if it is an energy of independence, if it is a situation, if it is a financial standpoint, or what? Five of Cups on its side. Some sort of sadness, some sort of depressive state. Independent from sadness. This individual that you were with, or this individual who made you feel a certain way, this individual who your own body warned you about, take it as it resonates, they might have made you feel very drained. This person's energy was just very soul-sucking. This person, their demeanor was very soul-sucking. They would have brought down the vibrations in any room they were in. You might have felt tired after being around this individual. And like I said in the very beginning, the feeling of someone at the head of this group, and I don't believe that the individual who likes to hide in the back, the individual who likes to remain in the shadows, the individual who does not want to be named or seen or talked about, that individual is not this individual I'm describing, this King of Cups. That individual who wants to remain in the back, that individual is an emperor. Like I said, they're not this ex of yours. That emperor is someone who watches. They like to watch. Okay, but again, they don't want to be talked about, so I guess I'll respect that. So, but this person, perhaps this ex of yours, or this individual who was like I said, some sort of coworker of yours, right? Let's go with that example. You felt really weird around this individual, or if you knew you had to be in the same room as this individual, you dreaded it. You felt this feeling in the pit of your stomach that would just grow even worse feeling the sooner it got to you feeling like, you had to be around this person. And then so, you were able to separate yourself from that. You were able to overcome this feeling in the pit of your stomach because you were like, well, I'm not going to keep putting up with this, or You know, I don't need to deal with this, or, you know, it's not worthwhile. This job isn't worth it. Having to see that person, you know, if it was like a relationship you were in, if this was your ex, like I said, you could have, you know, gotten to the point where, you know, you were telling yourself, well, I don't need this. I don't need this treatment. I can, you know, I can do better. I can be better on my own. I don't need to be treated this way. This person doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel good around this person. This person makes me feel bad. I get a feeling in the pit of my stomach when I know I have to see this person. That's obviously not the person I'm supposed to be with. So, you know, however it was that you separated yourself from the situation, whether it was your ex or whether it was some, you know, company you used to work for, or somebody at that company or whatever it was, a boss of yours maybe or something, I don't know, family member of yours who you got a feeling in the pit of your stomach every time you needed to be around them, so you always felt like you wanted to avoid that or make it as short as possible, you know, like you don't like being around the family. You didn't like going to family functions because this person was there or something like that. Or it could be a whole group of them, you know? But anyway, you separated yourself from it. And this feeling, this pit in the stomach feeling, or whatever, take it as it resonates for you. You separated yourself from that. I don't know, that wasn't really the greatest clarifier, but okay. Can we get a clarifier for death, please? What is this death card? What is this? Is this an ending? Is this a transition? Is it Knight of Pentacles? Scorpio. Could be a teenager or a young adult, Scorpio. Or this could be someone who is in Knight of Pentacles energy, trying to come Nine of Pentacles to you with an offer. Like they're trying to come at you in Knight energy when you're in Nine of Pentacles, so they think they're going to show up in Knight energy and complement your Pentacles. This could be your ex, your King of Cups, Scorpio ex, who thinks they're going to come back around, exploit some sadness, exploit some passing, or exploit some ending. This could be your ex who is this Scorpio who has this depressive energy that you already separated yourself from. You've already gotten yourself to the point of being independently stable. You have more than you need for yourself. So then here comes this Knight of Pentacles. So this could be your ex showing up in Knight energy because they're not ready to, you know, play king and queen with you. They just want to exploit. I'm getting this energy where it's foul play here. Whatever this is, you know, they're being sent in by someone. This is giving, this individual was contracted. So this could be describing a situation you went through with your ex. Your ex treated you that way. Your ex treated you so poorly because they were contracted to do so. Knight of Pentacles, they were paid to slowly and methodically withhold finances from you. They were paid to slowly and methodically put you into a depressive state, so that they could enact the final blow with the sickle here, thinking that they were going to play God in your life. This individual who is part of a group, and there's someone at the head of that group who prefers to remain in the shadows and think that they can keep their hands clean. They remain just some sort of observant viewer in their opinion. But they're all connected. Death inverted. They tried to take you out and it didn't work. Both death cards have popped out. This is the 5th card and death popped out again. That's crazy. Okay. So they tried to do the same old, and it didn't work, or they tried an ending and didn't work. They tried a transition period with you. They tried to exploit. They tried to do things slow and methodical. They tried to implement the final blow in order to take you out. Death here, and then death is inverted. So it didn't work, or they left you for dead. They thought you were dead. Someone told them you were dead. Someone promised them you would be dead. Something like that. But you aren't. You're not. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It didn't work. They're not going to get to hear news of your death because you're not dead. You're alive and well. You're over here with your bird in your garden wearing ermine. You're in your ermine. You're all dressed up. Nine of Cups inverted. I was just saying they're not going to get their wish fulfillment, but I didn't vocalize it because the card wasn't out here. Their wish fulfillment was to see you dead because they meant to kill you, because death on death. Cups on cups here. So they didn't get their wish fulfillment. They didn't get to kill you. They didn't get to see you dead. They didn't get news of your death. What was it that the collective was supposed to? Six of Cups. Six of Swords, Six of Cups. Someone from your past thought that you would never get away. They never thought you would get away. Nine of Cups inverted, death inverted. So the plan, slow and methodical, the individual, your ex possibly, or some Scorpio, was contracted. This could be a younger individual into what? Some sort of murder for hire. So then they sent this individual after you, or someone you've known since childhood, or this is the individual, your ex, who you had children with. Your ex and your kids, they're all in on it together. Your ex, your family, their family, they're all in on it together. Everybody's in on it together. Six of Cups, everybody's in on it together. People from your past. Long-term plan. This has been going on for a very long time. They were very slow and methodical with this. They thought there was no way that you were going to get away. Six of Swords inverted. They didn't expect that you would escape. They didn't think you would get away. They thought there was no way you would escape when they had you surrounded. They thought there's no way you would escape when they were using people from your past. They thought there's no way you would escape when they were using your own children. They thought there's no way you would escape when they were using your own memories of childhood, when they were using your own traumas against you. They thought you would never escape when they had everyone around you against you, when they paid, or they bought, or they coerced, or they extorted, or they put into compromising positions, or they talked into, or they manipulated, whatever you want to call it, however it played out. They never thought that you would escape because everybody was against you. Possibly, take it as it resonates. But it didn't work. They didn't get their wish fulfillment. You're not dead. They couldn't kill you. They tried to kill you. They left you for dead. They expected to hear news of your death. They thought they killed you. That would have been their wish fulfillment. That was their wish fulfillment. That is what they did with their time, was plot on how to kill you. That is what they did with their time, is work on this plan, slow and methodical, in which they would enlist the help of everybody since your childhood in this complicated scheme to do what exactly besides kill you? I mean, what were they supposed to get out of your death? What exactly were these murderer is supposed to get out of the collective's death? Ace of Cups, a new beginning. They were supposed to get an emotional new beginning or a baby. This is about they thought they were gonna get a baby. Why does it always gotta be the absolute worst people? I'm sorry you had to go through this, collective. I'm so sorry you had to go through this. What else did they think they were going to take? Oh, the Knight of Wands inverted. Yeah, they thought they were going to force themselves on you, get you a child, or they thought they were going to force a pregnancy on you by getting with child. Take it as it resonates. They thought that they were going to get a baby out of this. They thought that they were going to see you in a very vulnerable state. Or they thought they were going to get a baby out of this. Someone told them that there was a baby, or they were going to get a baby. I'm getting that very specific. Like someone was told they would get a baby. Who told who they would get a baby? Six of Pentacles. Someone paid for this. Someone got paid for this and someone paid for this. There was money. Okay. So we're done with that part. It didn't work. Their plans, it didn't work. And the people they were able to turn against you, they were always against you. They were never for you. Knight of Wands, this one. Wishes for the fishes. Alright. So yeah, Spirit is saying, never mind really about getting clarification on who exactly this and that, who exactly this and that, who exactly this and that. You'll pretty much be able to make it fit as it resonates for you in your own story, if it resonates at all. Of course, don't make it fit if it doesn't resonate, okay? So let's just get some closing messages then. What does the collective need to know about this? Collective has survived. That's good, okay? Queen of Coins on her side. So we have a Queen of Coins who is in low vibration. This is a feminine earth sign. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay. What about this? Thank you. The Fool on its side. Yeah, so they don't get the new beginning. So there is an individual who thought they were going to be receiving money, and they didn't get the money they thought they were going to get. They were going to have some sort of new beginning off of this money they were expecting to get. So they didn't get the money, so they're not in the Queen of Coins position that they thought they would be. They're not as financially stable and grounded. They don't have as much support or sponsorship as they thought they were going to have. They're not getting this new beginning. They're not going to be able to afford what they thought they could afford. They were making plans with money they were expecting to have. Those plans were about this new beginning. So take it as it resonates. That could be they were planning on buying, property. That could be they were planning on, going on lavish vacations. That could be they were planning on buying a whole new wardrobe. I don't know. Luxurious cars, or, new Birkin bags or something. I don't know. All right. Yeah. 10 of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles is in the energy because something's going on with this 10 of Pentacles, this inheritance. It keeps coming out, this 10 of Pentacles, this inheritance. This inheritance is coming towards you, and for some reason, there's still people doing everything to try and get in the way of it. So this Queen of Coins thought they were going to be the one to receive this inheritance. This Queen of Coins was planning on spending this inheritance. Like I was saying, the things they were planning on doing with that money, with this inheritance of yours. This Queen of Pentacles on her side, this individual who thought they were going to be receiving this money. They were making plans. They had a lot of plans for this money, but they didn't receive it. They didn't get their new beginnings. They don't get to act reckless now. They're used to acting reckless. They're used to being sponsored or having a lot of support. They're no longer in these upright energies that people were propping them up, because they were never upright on their own volition. They were only ever appearing to be upright due to being propped up by some community, by some narrative, by some life of lies, something, being propped up by some family, being, nepotism could be at play here. Someone could have expected that something would be handed to them because everything had always been handed to them. Someone could have felt entitled to your money because of their positioning in the family. And because this person does nefarious things for money, or because this person is ungrounded, or because this person doesn't know how to appreciate finances, this person tried to steal it when they thought they were going to get your money and then deny you the money, and then they didn't get the money, and all their things that they planned on spending with that money are not going to happen. Their new beginning, they're not going to get that. Then they tried to steal it from you. Two of Cups on the bottom. What about this Ten of Pentacles, though? What does the collective need to know about this Ten of Pentacles? How is this Ten of Pentacles going to get to the collective? It's the Nine of Pentacles. You got there yourself. They stole this from you already. They stole the money from you already. That's why people aren't knocking on your door with money that belongs to you, because the money's gone. People are scrambling. The Hierophant in this structure, or in this tradition, this Queen of Coins on her side thought that she could depend on some sort of grandfathered in position she assumed she would get due to her maneuverings within the family, or trying to climb the social ladder, trying to be the wife, acting foolish and reckless in regards to actual family monies, squandering money, not knowing how to really be the Queen of Coins in the upright. So she could have relied on a structure that was in place long before she got there. She could have failed upwards. She could have been afforded a certain lifestyle due to her being in the family way already. So this could be like your mother, this could be your aunt, this could be a sister, this could be a feminine air sign, or someone who fits those qualities like I described. You got to the Nine of Pentacles by yourself. You'll get to the Ten of Pentacles by yourself too. You're already in this Ten of Pentacles because that's the energy. You are Nine of Pentacles. You're by yourself. So while she had the support of the whole family, she had the support of tradition, structure, church, family, faith, you name it. She had that support. But it didn't mean anything to her. She didn't understand what it was. She didn't value it. She had a real lack of gratitude. Oh, somebody's ancestor said you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Okay. So this person should never have been considered wife material. Some elder in the family knew that. So yeah, but you didn't have any of that structure. You had to get to this Nine of Pentacles on your own. So you'll have this Ten of Pentacles on your own too. It won't have anything to do with these people. It won't have anything to do with any of the structure. It would have been nice, I'm sure, collective. It would have been nice to have even some of the support that this completely ungrateful, this ingrate, this degenerate. It would have been nice to have some of the support, at least some of the support that this individual had and squandered and didn't value and didn't appreciate and wasted. It would have been nice to have some of that support, but you didn't have any of that support. And now that you're here, now that you're by yourself, now that you're independently wealthy, or now that you are single and you got it alone, you got there alone, what do you need anybody else for? What are they going to bring to your Nine of Pentacles? One pentacle? No thanks. You're like, I don't need that. No thanks. Whatever it is you're trying to throw at me now, it's too late. That's your energy. All this structure, all this tradition. This individual could be trying to throw structure and tradition as some sort of hook. Like, oh, don't you want to be the wife? You're like, no, I don't give a fuck about that. They're like, oh, don't you want to be the matriarch of the family? You're like, no, I don't give a fuck about that. What family? The family that turned on me? That family? What church? The church that turned on me? That church? What structure? The structure that was never there when I needed structure? That structure? Again, you're like, nah, you can keep that. You can keep that falsehood. You can keep that group of people. You can keep that woman. Whatever that is, y'all can keep that. Y'all can keep each other. You can stay in that energy. You can stay there. You can stay right there in the energy. You can keep that same energy. Collective, you're like, don't come over here and try to fuck up my life. Don't do it. Don't you fucking do it. All right, thank you. Closing messages. 10 of Swords. That's all they want to do. This individual wants to come and pretend like they're going to hold court. They're going to pretend like they have some sort of tradition that's supposed to matter to you, or somebody in a position of elevation over you in the family. Like that's supposed to matter to you. They're trying to do anything they can in order to not have to be accountable for the fact that they swindled, for the fact that they lied, for the fact that they stole, for the fact that they ultimately betrayed you, those closest to you, wanted to see you from a position that you wouldn't come back from? Why do you want to go back to anything that represents the Ten of Swords to you? Why would you want anything to do with anybody or any group or any church or any family or any tradition that was an ultimate betrayal for you? These people stabbed you in the back over and over and over again. All they want to do is trap you so they can just try to do the same thing again. They already stole from you, and you got where you're at by yourself. You didn't have any of the support that this doppelganger of yours had, or this copycat of yours had, or this person who failed upwards, or this Nepo baby, or this group, or this family, or whatever this is. You didn't have any of the support that this person had. And you also had all of those people who were supporting or being supported attacking you as well. Why should they be attacking you? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Someone who pretends to be of God, why are they attacking people? How does that sound like something God told you to do? These people go to church once or twice a week. These people claim to be of God. These people claim to be godly people. And then they go around attacking people. They go around stealing. They go around trying to kill people. That's not... They're living a lie, this illusion. Choices or options. Trying to cast an illusion so they can Ten of Swords you again. Trying to throw tradition in your face like you're supposed to fold in front of it, like it's supposed to scare you. I don't know why they think these scare tactics are going to scare you. You weren't scared when they threw you away like trash. You weren't scared when they were attacking you in a group. You weren't scared when they abandoned you and left you for dead. You weren't scared with all their intimidation tactics. You weren't scared all the times that they tried to scare you. You weren't scared. You would think that they would learn. Eight of Wands on its side. They're having trouble getting things off the ground. They're having trouble with communication, or they're having trouble with getting things off the ground, getting things moving. They're having trouble traveling or messaging or communication. They're having communication problems, communication issues. Someone's playing with someone's communications. Someone is trying to cast an illusion, being foolish, pretending to be someone else through messages or someone. Could be pretending to be someone else, messaging someone as someone else, pretending to be, you know, let's say this is a situation where someone is playing games with someone's phone. You know, let's say your ex is on some sort of fake profile trying to reach out to you, trying to see if you'll take the bait, you know. Or let's say your ex is on your kid's phone, or someone around your ex, you know, a step or somebody like that is on your kid's phone, and they're trying to play games. They're pretending to be the kid saying stupid things to you and then erasing it, playing games, stuff like that. Casting illusions, messing with communication. So yeah, it's like these people, they'll stoop to anything. They'll stoop to pretending to be someone they're not. They'll stoop to pretending to be a kid. They'll stoop to pretending to be your kid. They'll stoop to trying to turn your kids against you. They will stoop to trying to use tradition against you. That same tradition which never supported you. That's how stupid these people are. They think that which never scared you is all of a sudden going to scare you. Or that they think that which was never there for you. It was never part of your support system. Again, they're projecting their own bullshit onto you. Because that is the mental level that they're at. That is their mentality. That's all they know how to do, is what they're familiar with. Because they know that the system that they depend on, if that system should falter or be a disappointment or someday not be there to catch them when they fall, when that system, when that group of people who they're using, when that system doesn't show up, when that system is not the support system that they thought it was, that is the worst thing they can think of, because they depend on a system. You, on the other hand, they Ten of Swords you so many times. They brought you to this place where you were asking yourself, why am I here? Why am I dealing with these people? I deserve so much better than this. Or they brought you to a place where you were like, wow, they really did that. Wow, they really didn't give a fuck whether I live or die. Wow, they really attacked when they had no reason to. Wow, they really did that. Wow, they really tried to kill me. Wow, they really thought they did kill me. Wow, they celebrated because they thought I was dead. So you could have gone through all of those phases of grief, coming to terms with the reality of what was your support system, and it's just you and your ancestors, of course, your spiritual inheritance, who the ancestors that do love you and support you, the ancestors who are your support system in the spiritual realm. So, you know, they thought they are the type of person who is going to gather in a group and attack one person. They're the type of person who is going to hide behind a group or a system. They're going to hide behind anonymity. They're going to hide behind multiples. They're going to work in a group so they can spread the so-called crime, you know, spread it out amongst a bunch of people so it'll make everybody's individual portion smaller. That's how they view it. These are the type of people who have to gather in a group to come up against one person. These are the type of people who will gather in a group and come up against, they will attack one person. These are the type of people who will gather in a group to come up against one person. And you're the person that they come up against. You're the type of person who is too independent. You're the type of person who you can't be bought. You have a very advantageous position. You're not going to be fooled by lies and illusions. You're not going to be fooled by smoke and mirrors. You're not going to be fooled by people pretending to be other people. You're not going to be drawn into conflict or forced out of your character where you're acting out of character. You know, you're not going to bring yourself there, and that's the only way you would ever get there is if you brought yourself there, because these people can't force you to do anything. They're the type of people who gather in a group to come up against one person. You're the type of person who would headbutt someone tied to a chair. That's the type of person you are. They're the type of person who would gather in a group, attack someone, assault them, and tie them to a chair, and then stand in a group. Let's say there's 5 people in this group. They're the type of person who would be one of those 5 members of the group standing there across from you while you're tied to a chair. They feel powerful coming up against one person because they're in a group. They're cowards. They would never come up against you one-on-one. You, on the other hand, you're not a coward. You, on the other hand, are not the type of person who would gather in a group to come up against one individual. You are the type of person who would headbutt someone while you are tied to that chair. You're the type of person who would headbutt any one of those 5 individuals who got close enough to you. Any one of those 5 individuals who was dumb enough to get closest to you. If you could, you would headbutt the fuck out of them. Because you're not a coward. Because you know that you are capable of impossible feats. Because you know that yourself alone. They had to come up against you in a group, yourself alone. They're the type of cowards who gather in a group to come up against one person. So of course you're not afraid to headbutt anyone who's stupid enough to get close to you. That person deserves to get headbutted. If they got close enough to you, they deserve it. You're the one tied to a chair. So now there's not 5 of them against you, now there's 4 of them against you, because one of them is knocked out cold on the floor in front of you, because you headbutted them. And then you did even crazier shit. Again, these people, they have no idea what they're in for. They're in for the show of their life. You just headbutted someone in front of them. They never thought that they would see that. That's shit they see in movies. No, they're used to people squealing and crying and screaming and begging for their life when they gather in a group to assault one person tied to a chair. No, that's what they were expecting. They weren't expecting you to headbutt that person. They weren't expecting that person to be laid out. They weren't expecting their group to be down one member, while you sat there with a bloody face because you just headbutted someone. And then you stood up. And they were like, oh shit, what is happening right now? They weren't expecting that. And then you stood up, or about as up as you could get because you're still tied to the chair. So you sort of leaned over frontward, stood up, extended your legs as straight as you could, and then you threw yourself against the wall to break the chair. Or you threw yourself against the floor to break the chair. Or you swung yourself around and threw yourself against one of them to break the chair. But you fucking broke the chair. However you did it, you broke the fucking chair. And now these motherfuckers, they're like, what the fuck? And now you're not tied to the chair anymore. And now it's not 4 of them. Now it's more like 2 of them are left. Because you fucked some of them up breaking that chair open. And now that you broke the chair open, you're not tied to the chair anymore. Now you have wooden pieces that you can use to beat the fuck out of these people. And you did. And you did. You ran down every last one of them. Not even one of them escaped from that room. Not even one. The only one who left that room was you. You were bruised, you were bloody, you were beaten. But you were alive, and you were the only one who walked out of that room. And that was exactly how it went down. But these people who tell the story of how you busted out of that room, man, they embellish the shit out of that story. Collective, man, you grew about 10 feet. And then ninjas came in the windows and helped you. And it was a fucking all-out brawl. And everybody was wearing their colors to represent the side they were on. It was Embellishment City, y'all. Oh, man. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you had, like, weapons that you pulled out of nowhere. You were, like, Kung Fu Master with your nunchucks or something. Then all of a sudden you had blades. You were flying around the room like some sort of vampire ballerina, and they're like, what the fuck? But nah, they're just a bunch of psychos who tied you to a chair and watched as you freed yourself like the fucking magician you are. This group with their traditions and their morals. What morals? Yeah, right. Morals of gathering in a group to attack one person tied to a chair. Morals of casting illusions. Traditions of smoke and mirrors. Yeah. But yeah, the story they tell of how you busted out of that room, Collective, it is so embellished, it's not even recognizable. It is a total game of telephone. By the time this story gets back to you, Collective, you're going to be like, who are they talking about? You're not even going to know they're talking about you. Because the story has been so embellished. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They can embellish a story all they want. They could pretend like you're some Kung Fu master who, you know, had nunchucks up your sleeve the whole time. But you're not a Kung Fu master. You're just an innocent victim who they gathered in a group to attack. You didn't have nunchucks up your sleeve the whole time. No, you had to bust your way out of being tied to a chair after headbutting someone who was part of a group who gathered against you, one person, tied to a chair. They were just pieces of wood that were handy after you broke the chair that you were tied to. That's all. But again, with the embellishment, it's hard to recognize the origin story, Collective. I love that for you. I'm gonna leave it here until next time. Bye.